Hello and welcome. This is day 3 out of 5 of the Create and Launch Your Game Challenge. Um, Yesterday, we figured out the peer-to-peer networking with Matchbox, and so we'll continue where we left off. Let me share my screen. Right. So here's what we had. This was copy-pasted from um, the example from Matchbox for Bevy and GGRS. And when we run this, we have a cube for each player, and they just move around. And so we want to, I want to make this into a game. I'd mentioned voxels before, but I don't think we'll have time to get into that this week. But maybe in the next challenge, we'll integrate that with the next game. All right. So I'm going to run this first just to have kind of a feel for what we could do here. Go run, but I need the signaling server as well. And I think stop this one. Yeah, and then cargo run, yeah, Matchbox server. All right, and then here we'll do cargo run wasm. All right, so now we should be able to, there we go. So this should load. Yeah, waiting for one more player. And it's still loading. Like we saw yesterday, it takes a little bit to connect. Oh, I think it's faster if I switch. Yeah, because it kind of pauses when it's not the active tab. Anyway, that's my assumption. Yeah, there we go. Now we have activity. All right, so this is our play area. I think I'm happy with keeping this play area. I might want to change like the camera and add some like change the camera to maybe like a third person view or like over the shoulder or something, and then add some jump functionality. And then, so how would you win? I'm thinking maybe something where you're trying to survive as long as possible and your score increases as long as you're alive, maybe with some power-ups or something. And yeah, and then I guess you're competing with the other player, but you're not necessarily like attacking them directly. Probably fine. You can still go through them like this. If we have time, maybe we'll do something where you can interact directly with the other player. But for now, maybe we'll just have the scores for each player. And then if you die, your score gets reset to 0 and you try to beat your high score. Yeah, we'll have that. We'll have a score for each player. It'll keep track of the highest score. And then if you get killed, you reset your score, and so everyone's trying to beat their own high score and trying to get a better score than the others. And then mention the jump functionality, so that maybe might tie into what you're trying to avoid, so you don't get killed. So I don't know, should we go with some kind of platforming thing, or maybe there's like some enemy that just tries to attack everyone and you're just trying to get out of the way. Yeah, so I think, so this is what I'll try to do at first. So I think maybe we'll put like something in the middle for now just to represent the enemy. And then if you touch it, you die. And then we'll implement the scores, and the jumping we'll leave for last because that's technically kind of optional. You could probably have some enemy attacks that you could just avoid by moving. But it would be nice to have a jump. Right, so first I'll put in the enemy. It's just going to be like maybe like a static sphere or something. It's not going to move at this point, but it's just so that we can test the actual dying. Yeah, so let's do that first. All right. So I basically know nothing about how to interact with the peer-to-peer network, but we'll have to somehow send kind of an event or something, or well, maybe we don't because we already have the players synchronizing their positions. So if a player touches the enemy, um, if a player touches the enemy, maybe we can detect that already from their position. But definitely the jump will need some kind of new input. Okay, PBR bundle. So it looks like this is the cube for the player, where we would set up scene system. All right. Player handles, yeah. So for the player, and then there's probably a later on another place that will spawn the cubes for the other for the remote players, right? So this would be the player that you actually control. Because I'm saying that because this is that setup, so that would make sense. Right, so I guess we could spawn the enemy here too, because everyone will have the same enemy. The enemy will behave in a deterministic way, so it will be the same for everybody. And I think we won't even need to synchronize anything about the enemy over the network because it's deterministic. But maybe we'll have to at least maybe give it like a start point so everyone's on the same page. Or we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll have to synchronize it. All right, so yeah, I could basically copy most of this. I don't even know if I need to have like a rollback, like the for now anyway, it's just kind of like a static object. So for now, I might have to add some of this stuff back in later, but for now, I just want a sphere, and what does sphere take? Does it also take size? Um, there. Okay. So sphere. There's no sphere. It's got to be something like a sphere. Um, Icosphere. There we go. Or UV sphere. I don't like icospheres more, but doesn't really matter for this. Radius subdivisions. Radius and subdivisions. So subdivisions, that just has to do with the geometry. The more subdivisions you have, the rounder the sphere will be. Don't really need many in this case because this is just kind of like a placeholder for the enemy. Yeah. And where are these constants coming from? All right, okay, so since it's all set up this way, you might as well keep following the same pattern. So sphere radius, and then sphere subdivisions. And radius, you can make it 1. And then subdivisions maybe 3. Just trying to find where we were. All right. Sphere radius, sphere, subdivisions. Now we'll have to somehow make sure that players don't spawn inside the enemy, but we'll handle that later. Okay, so trade not satisfied. Mesh from I mean, I see UV sphere listed there. Did I do something wrong? And 2 others. Hyposphere's got to be in there. Maybe it's not. We'll just use UV sphere then. Sectors and stacks. Yeah, I mean, we don't even really need these. Especially since this placeholder, but yeah. If we end up keeping the sphere, we can just expose those values out as constants, but I think just for now, sectors and stacks. So again, this refers to the geometry. Sectors, I think, would be the rings that all intersect at the top and bottom, and then the stacks would be like kind of like the horizontal, like kind of like the equator. So maybe this is just totally arbitrary, but I might need those to be floats. Radius, oh, right. Radius might be like 1. Yeah, float 32. This one's going to need to have, yeah. Right. Unnecessary parentheses. Oh. I'll still leave them for now because we'll probably have to add more stuff there. All right, so this should be enough to get this to spawn. Materials, color. I don't want the same color. I want like red. There. All right. So this is a type color, and it's dot into. This should work. Right, and just recompile. Oh, yeah, I don't see why this wouldn't work. And so now we need to have some kind of detection if something intersects with it. So some kind of, yeah. Maybe I do it based on the position, so then I don't have to like add any kind of physics, because realistically, it's just a sphere, so the calculation is just a distance calculation, and then we really don't need anything complex. Just if anyone's position ends up within there. Yeah, well, let's check out the sphere, and we have two of them. And they're placed on top of the, maybe I need to refresh. Yeah. Oh yeah, still the same. So okay, so they're okay, I see what happened. So well, I'm not sure why there's two, but it looks like the position was the same position as the player, which makes sense here because I didn't specify the position I wanted. And I think I wanted at 0, 0. Point light. Now, what I'm just thinking, what I just thought of now is, where does the plane actually get spawned? Okay, let me make a comment here so I lose track of this. Transform. I do like that. Transform. That's a struct, right? Yeah. Transform, and then what's in this struct? Translation, rotation, scale. So all I'm interested in specifying is the position. So I'm going to do the dot default, and then right, what were they called? Translation. Yeah, translation is what I want. All right, translation. What type is this? Is that type translation? Vec3. Translation is going to be Vec3. And Vec3 is probably, yeah, it's a struct of 3 floats. So x 1.0. No, I want this at 0, 0. It's y 0.0 and z, or z if you're from the US, or either one if you're from Canada, which I am. Yeah, so this should have it nice and centered. It's a little bigger than I thought it would be, so maybe I'll make the radius a little smaller. And yeah, so that should work. The only thing is there was two of these, and kind of didn't expect that. Okay, I didn't notice this. For handle, for every player this happens. So I want this outside of that section. Okay, I want this. Yeah, and here's the plane. So it's more like here that I would want that. There. There should be only one enemy, and it will be right in the middle. I set this to 0, 0, but it might just be that that's the default, really. And I think it is. So I probably don't even need to specify this. I'll leave it for now since we wrote it in. When we work on this enemy, we might want to do some stuff around that anyway. All right. Yeah, and we'll probably have to sync the enemy, like if we don't want it to be like just kind of like a dumb static enemy that doesn't know anything about the players. So like it might be interesting for it to chase them or, target them somehow. So yeah, we'll definitely have to sync this somehow later on. Okay, so something's missing here. Comma maybe is, oh, okay, that warning's gone. Yeah, sometimes Rest Analyzer isn't great at keeping up. Oh, there is an error somewhere. Transform. Try name. Oh, is it a typo? Try naming a field transform. Oh, of course. It's a lowercase. There. Material transform. Yeah, that should be good. So that should compile. And yeah, that's just a warning. Right. And we'll go ahead and refresh. Oh, okay. It wasn't ready yet. I think I don't even need to refresh. Looks like when it looks like it automatically refreshes. All right, so here's our enemy, at least temporarily. So we need to detect player's position relative to this and kill the player when that happens. Or yeah. And then okay, this might be helpful. Whatever entity you want, FOBAC component with unique ID. Every entity that you want to be saved or loaded needs a rollback component. Loading entities from the past. This extra ID is necessary to collect entities over different namespaces. All right, so look into this later. And what's this? Okay, all right. So what I want now, oh, there's actually a light for every player and a camera. Not sure where there's a camera for every player. All right, so we need to keep track of score. And we want that to be synced. So we have, every player has a handle. All right, number of players. Okay, well, this is just the index for the player, I guess. And but I guess they reuse that here to identify the player. How many player colors are there? Okay, it's plenty. Well, there's 4. So there would be a color for player 5. Or they'd be perhaps the same color as someone else. Yeah, because of modulus. All right. And yeah, so I think we'll add the score first. Maybe we'll display the score first. There should be some UI somewhere. related to, maybe it's in the main. When it's loading, when it's waiting for players, right? I saw that earlier. Entering lobby. And then connecting. I'll just search for waiting. Yeah. This isn't really what I was looking for after all, but yeah, I guess some of the other stuff. So like where are all these messages going into? They're going into a text. I think it's this text it's going into. Node bundle. So I can probably do something very similar. Lobby text. Lobby UI. This is just an empty struct. We have to tag that game object so that one of the systems will run on it. And I think I closed the wrong tab. Okay, here. Entering log. Yeah, so I think definitely I want something like this. And then, with different sizes. I'm gonna want one for each player, or maybe the same one, but with some text on a separate line for every player. Yeah, and that way we can rank them. All right. Oh, this is just responding centered text. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'll copy all this. Well, not all of it, or I'll get rid of what's not relevant. Yeah, and then let me see if there's maybe something else that I may have missed. Yeah, I think that's all I need. So Bucks game, setup scene, is it here? Plain enemy, yeah. So you want this. This is going to be the score. And this is just the UI element that displays the score. Like we'll have some other logic to update the score. All right, so we don't want this in the center. This is like where, like, especially for like UI stuff where an editor would be really handy. So you could see what you're changing. And there are some for Bevy, but I think I'll just stick to this for now. Keep it simple. So yeah, how items align according to the main axis. I guess start and start. Like I want it in the top left, or anyway, in any corner, whether it's top left or top right, but I think this is going to be top left. I think, yeah. Position type. I think this doesn't really matter for now. And the size doesn't really need to be 100%, but we'll just leave that. Background color. I don't want a background. I want this to be clear, transparent. Or maybe we won't. Oh, maybe we'll scale it down and have a bit of a background behind the score. We'll just see how this looks. If I wanted to have this transparent, I'm not sure how I do that because, oh, well, okay. Background color. So I can use something else than just color. Maybe there's a color that has transparency or no. For now, I think I'll just scale this down to maybe 20%. Then it shouldn't cover the whole screen. All right, text. Okay, so I changed the alignment of the node bundle, which is just a container, but the text itself is still centered within that container. Yeah, so I think, well, it seems like it overrides this. I'll just set them to start, both of them. And then asset server, I'm going to need a reference to that. This is a resource, so if we just add it in here, this is we call these systems in Bevy. It's kind of a special function where you can specify as arguments like resources or this commands. It gives you access to some of the stuff in the Bevy game engine, and then it's smart enough to be able to pass those into your function. Yeah, so this isn't like a regular function. Call it a system. All right, so I need the assets, the asset server, I guess. And that would be where were we? Before when we found all the UI stuff here. Yeah, so asset server. This is what we need. All right. Okay, so it's good. Now I can find the font size. This needs to go way down. I don't know, like, I don't know if 16 is still too big, but see, we don't need lobby text, but maybe yeah, we do want something here because we want to be able to access this text bundle. We'll have a system that will find this text bundle and update it. This I don't think we need. Yeah, do we need to? Yeah, not really, because it would just be like always on. I assume this was there so that it can be turned off when you exit the lobby. But in this case, the high score will just like always be there. So at least once the game is started. Okay, still need this semicolon. Lobby text. And this is just going to be like an empty struct. An empty struct, but it is tagged as component. And we'll put that up here somewhere. Near the player. It's also a component. And we want to rename this definitely high score text. Or just score. I have this high score in it, but yeah, that's okay for now. Score text. I might break this up into multiple texts later, so we can play around with, having different size for the high score and the current score. But for now, let's just start with this and rename this to scores. Scoreboard, maybe. I'll just leave that for now. We're going to change it later anyway. Right. So that should appear. Just going to format it because I'm not sure it's okay. All right. Now we should have a nice little area to put the score in. Yeah, so once this launches, compiles fairly quickly compared to some other Rust projects. Well, I don't really need this one. These are over here. Okay, so this is our score thing. All right, so this gives you an idea of what 20% looks like. I can readjust this. Maybe like a little thinner, a little longer. So on the X, I think maybe I'll do like, I can increase the font as well. Maybe I'll do like 15 and then 30. Yeah. All right. Okay, so now we'll need something to update the scores. Yeah, so let's go to main and see how they're updating the text. So they're also updating the text based on some things that happen in the network, like all the player being joined, all the players. So lobby text, and then it's going to be somewhere else what's being used here. So they're querying anything that has a lobby text, in this case, just one entity. And let's see. Oh, the text is being changed like this. All right, well, we're gonna have to add a system to update the text, and then at minimum it's gonna need, well, for sure it's gonna need a line like this, and then we'll have to detect whether certain things happened. Yeah, like when did the player die or spawn? Yeah. So, okay. And then the score will just be based on how much time has passed since then, plus if we get, well, yeah, if we had some power-ups or something, it would be plus those power-ups. I don't know if we'll have time to implement that. All right, so I need this. Well, first, let me just go ahead and create the system. This is the setup scene. Where the system is being added. I could just look this one up. Oh, they're getting added here in the main. So, okay, I'll create a function for updating the AI, the UI, yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll just do it at the end. I'm noticing these allow dead code everywhere, but not on this one. Yeah, I don't know why, but we'll see. If if somehow the system doesn't run, then we'll know that maybe something's getting stripped out. About time. And we'll name this update scores. Yeah. And in the main, somewhere the systems are being added. System. Add plugins. So resource. Add system. Okay. So we'll do add it to the end. Maybe. Setup scene system. I'll add it after the setup scene system. The order doesn't really matter here. Well, some things might matter, but in this case, for this file, for this system, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, that could be in the same in game. That's all I need to add to basically turn the function into a system. Is this, and then the function will run every frame based on this. Okay, so I don't want on enter though. I want it to run on update. Yeah, and now it's not happy. Am I missing something in the set? Yeah, I guess we want it to run same way as this does on this, because this one only runs once. It's just to set it up, and then this we want to run every frame. All right, and then we had the UI function somewhere. Not this one, the one that updates the lobby text. Here, so we need this query. So we can access the text. I think we called this score text. Yeah. Or did we? Private score text. Okay. Score text needs to be public. There, and then this line will update the text. We'll add that here. Let's see. So I want to, okay, let me put together some more reasonable message here. So scores. I don't even need to really write scores. It should be obvious, I guess. So player, so I have to depend on the number of players. But okay. This might say like player 1 and then score. And then the high score. Do I want this high score for every player or the total high score for everyone? Okay, so I want a row for each player that's going to show their high score. And I'm going to want to order that so that the top one has the highest score. And then right next to the high score, I kind of want to see the actual score. So maybe like in a smaller text. Or in parentheses or something. Yeah, it might be good to reformat this later, but for now, yeah, need these variables to exist. So this will be the player ID. And I think this will be a number. Score. Right now I'm just going to put placeholder values so that it can compile. So I want this for every player. So I'm going to create a, yeah, I'm going to create a string. And this will be the value. Yeah, and I have to order them too. Yeah, I want to do this for, I want to append this to the string for every player. So I'll have to iterate through the players to know that. And then the string will be, it gets assigned here. Right. And then I'm pretty sure they're iterating through the players somewhere. Up in the setup, actually, they're iterating through the players. And I don't really need to get this from the network because every player already has, yeah, I could get the players from the scene. So every player already has a, let's see, where did I see this before? Already has like an ID added to their player component. Yeah, player handle. So what I want is to get this component and iterate over like every entity that has this component and just get the handle. This might be where I store the score actually, for each player. So I think that would make sense. My score and score. It'd be better to call this actual score to avoid any ambiguity. But I'll just leave it like this for now. Yeah, which means oops, when this player is being initialized, we'll have to update them as well. Player handle high score 0. And, does this implement default? So then I could just do dot default. It does. So let's just do that then. Dot default. All right. And then right. So yeah, if I go back to the bottom here, I want to query not just the text, but the player. View text. So I don't want to change the player. This is just a display. So I don't need anything mutable actually. So maybe just player. And it might not like that. So does it want it? Does it want me to say mutable? Well, first of all, this should not be named the same. So text query, maybe, and then player query. All right, it's happy with that. But I don't need this to be mutable. Still doesn't like that. Maybe it still needs to be a reference though. I don't know. Oh, that seems okay. Yeah, this doesn't need to be mutable. All right. So I'm going to iterate this query. For each. Can I do that? Is this an iterator? Runs F on each. We don't query item. Okay, great. There's an example. It's perfect. For each player. That's what I'll do. All right. So for each player, okay, I'm gonna have this string just be kind of an empty string. You. And that way we can do dr this equals. Can I do it again? I'm not. Player.id. Hopefully it's happy with this. If not, I'll have to hold them out into some variables. Yeah, looks like I might have to do that. Or maybe it's the plus equals it didn't like. Not sure I can do expected. Oh, okay. That's true. So I guess this whole thing is a string. Yeah, it is. And how do I usually fix this? Yeah. Okay. And then yeah, field access isn't supported. So I need this here. And this can be player.id. So just be ID high score. No, it's not ID, it's handle. Rename that for consistency. And this would be player.score, player score. So pretty much out of time for today. Let's just compile this and see what we've got so far. So what I expect to see, oh, I need to add a new line here. Otherwise, they're all going to be on the same line. Right. So what I expect to see is a row for each player that is connected. Yeah, they're not sorted. So maybe we can do that next time, but it should display a score of 0. Player 0, player 1. Cool. Yeah, maybe I could do an offset on the handle just to make it look a little bit more expected. So yeah, all right. So we've got a scoreboard that we can update, and then a something that can not kill us yet. So that's what we've got today. So tomorrow we'll continue with this. We'll get the scores actually updating, and we'll add the dying mechanic, and then make this a little bit more dangerous. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.